What is fear? What do you fear? Why do you fear it? And how do you face it and overcome that fear? Well, that's exactly what we're going to touch on in this video and share some insights and stories along the way. And if you stay tuned right till the end, I will share a perspective shift that totally changed the way and flipped how I view fear and navigate it in my life. So welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kerry, and we talk about all things mindset, motivation, and manifesting here, and how to use it to level up and become the best version of you in your life and me in my life. So that's what this is all about. So in a few conversations this week, coaching calls and conversations with people, in one call in particular, we started to talk about getting to know who you really are and what that's all about and going within. And that conversation transitioned into a conversation about fear. And in sharing in the groups, it was man to men, that one of the groups that we have, another one was with Men's League. But it transitioned into the fear of uncertainty, the fear of the unknown, fear of being hurt, fear of rejection, fear of betrayal, fear of failure, fear of being alone, all of those different fears. And the big question that came up out of that, which from numerous people, was how do we avoid all of those things that result in those fears so we don't have to actually fear them? I'm going to come back to that, so stay tuned. We're going to come back to that. But a basic explanation of fear, and I know I could get into the scientific end of it and there's week-long seminars on fear, but in a nutshell, it shows up when your brain perceives a threat. Right? Your amygdala, it processes the threat and triggers a response. And that could be a physiological response. It could be an emotional, a behavioral, and that could result in all kinds of different behaviors and activities and thoughts. And it can paralyze people or, and it has all kinds of repercussions. But your fight or flight kind of kicks in your response. That's what the amygdala is also responsible for. So, but without diving into the scientific end of things, right? It's fear is different for everyone, and it's different for people in different situations, right? What I might fear in one situation, faced with that same situation on another day, I may not experience fear at all. It depends on us as individuals, right? And where we're at in our lives. So, but for the most part, fear it's a response to thoughts that we're having, right? And its fears are learned through experiences and conditioning that we have. And almost all fears, like I said, are thoughts. It's almost, some would say, it's mismanagement of our thoughts and beliefs. And so I just want to float that out there for a second, because I want to focus today specifically on you having the power within you to face the fears that you have and overcome them. Because when we think that it's an outside source or something outside of us needs to happen, well, that leaves us in that powerless, we need to be rescued victim state. And that's not what I want for you. I want you to step into the power and know that you have everything you need to navigate and conquer those fears. Okay, so I want to share a Dale Carnegie quote, and I'm going to read it. I have notes down here. So, you can conquer almost any fear if you will only make up your mind to do so. For remember, fear doesn't exist anywhere except in the mind. And that's truly what we're talking about today. So, and empowering you to realize that and provide a few perspective shifts to allow you to conquer those fears. So a couple acronyms for fear, I'm sure you've heard some of these, but it's false evidence appearing real, forget everything and run, face everything and rise. I mean, ultimately, it's up to you what fear means to you. Which one of those acronyms describes what you think fear is all about? You can put it in the comments below, or do you have a different one that you'd like to share in the comments below? Definitely do that. But no matter what it is, it's your choice of what fear means to you. Okay, so I'm going to speak from a men's perspective for a few minutes here. And that's, men are, when exposed to fear or facing fear or feeling fear, we're taught by society that narrative of, put on the mask, be a tough guy, don't be scared, you got this, don't show any fear at all, and all of these things to avoid, and I think, why do we do that? We have to avoid looking weak or being judged as less than or not good enough or weak and whatever the words are you want to insert in there. But I think it's important that we embrace and acknowledge that fear, where it's coming from, what triggers it, what it's all about, because it's not about avoiding the fear. It's about embracing it, right? Understanding, like I said, where it's coming from, because if we don't embrace that, it can impact our physical and mental health. It can influence our overall decision making in what we do and don't do in life, and our quality of life and overall well-being, right? And experiences that we could have, beautiful experiences that we could have, but we don't experience them because we have that fear and we're scared of what might happen if we move into that. So think about that, just that concept in general, right? Like, do you want to avoid everything in life that you're scared of? Just because you don't want that possibility, that what if it doesn't turn out good, right? Think about all the things you'd miss out on in life. Like let's think, like, what if I get my heart broken? What if I run a business that isn't successful? What if I apply for that role or that job and don't get it? What if I speak up and say something about how I feel and other people reject me or make fun of me? I could sit here and go through it. I mean, all of those fears I have, right? I've had at one point in my life. They come back in and out, and it's easy. I could avoid all of those fears and just say, well, I'm not going to run a business then, or I'm not going to be in a relationship. I'm not going to do this. But really, is that how I want to live my life? And I encourage you to ask that same question. Is that how you want to live your life? So a little insight here in changing all of those what ifs, and I've done videos about this before, but changing those what ifs, it doesn't work out. What if this, all those negative things you say, what if it does work out? And let's touch on a few of the things that I just touched on. What if you could be in an amazing relationship that was better than anything you've ever experienced? What if you took a chance and went after that business, started your own business, and it worked out to be something that the world absolutely rejoiced that you started, and it served and supported so many people? What if that? That's what I wanted to encourage you to just kind of consider when you're going through those what ifs. But okay, so I want to go back. I want to touch on this perspective shift because I want to keep things really tight today. So the perspective shift that I promised you about fear, it's not about avoiding those situations that you associate fear with, right? Because that's how you miss out on living. And so when I was asked that question, when we put down that mask and show that maybe we're a little bit scared, or we step into something that we're uncertain about, right? How do we avoid being hurt, being betrayed, being rejected, being lied to, failing? The answer to that, in my opinion, is you don't avoid that. Because the whole fear, when I drilled down for me on where that comes from, where that came from with me, the fear of all of those things came from not the fear of the actual event or experience. It's the fear that I wasn't going to be okay if I experienced that. And that really hit me. So where the work is here, it's about putting the work in on yourself. Me, putting the work in on me to know that when and if and when I actually experience those things again in my life, that I'm going to be okay. And if you experience those things in your life, if you put in the work, you're going to be okay. And actually more than okay, right? Because you have the tools and the wisdom and everything you need to handle and navigate no matter what life throws at you. And that's truly where it is for me. Because it would be a travesty to not experience love for the rest of my life. It would be a travesty to not take a chance and think. I mean, it's the biggest regret of the dying on the bed. It's not the things, when people are on their deathbeds, they say they interview people, and it's not, they don't regret what they did. They regret the things they didn't do, the things they didn't take a swing at. That's not how I'm going out. I'll guarantee you that right now. So a couple of things, and again, when keeping the video relatively tight today, and there's things that I can go into. If you want more information on it, definitely send me a DM, or you can mention in the comments. But the work I'm referring to is this stuff like building your confidence and your resilience through solid self-care routines. And we've gone through lots of self-care stuff, but like meditation and breath work and just be doing things that make you happy, right? And positive self-talk, knowing you have that confidence and that resilience within you that you can face any challenges and get through it. And the things about having a solid support network. And that could be friends, could be family, could be coaches, could be therapists, counselors, whatever, right? But it's having those things in place in advance so that if and when you do experience those things, you're going to be okay, because everything you need is inside of you. And that is a very liberating and powerful place to live from. So I would love to think about, do you think about that, right? Know that that if you are experiencing fear, I mean, one of the biggest things in one of these meetings, one of the meetings that I was in this week, was that consensus of uncertainty and the fear around that uncertainty of the future, uncertainty of relationships, uncertainty of what's going on and all the craziness going on in the world, the uncertainty of what's business going to look like, and what's my health and fitness going to look like, all those things. And there's a lot of concern and fear about that. But how you conquer that fear is by putting the work in advance. And if you don't know what that means, or there's something specific that you'd like support on, reach out to me. My website's carykish.com, CARYKISH.com. Book a free call. I would love to talk with you about that and see if we're a good fit and if there's something I can support and serve you with. But I want to leave you with a Franklin D. Roosevelt quote, and it's one of the most famous quotes on fear that we've ever heard. And that is, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And that's truly it. And knowing that we control all of that, because fear is all up in our mind, that's a powerful place to kind of shift and look at life and live life from and experience all those things, and it kind of knocks that fear out. It's not that you can't feel uncertain or fear about something. You shouldn't think about things, and don't just go jumping off buildings or running into cages of lions and stuff like that. But because that fear, there are those things that fear and a good thing that keep us safe. But those things that are holding us back that we want to do and we don't we're scared about what might happen if we do it. That's where taking that chance is what it's all about today. So again, if this message resonated with you at all today, someone that could use this message, by all means, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I encourage you. We talk about all things mindset, motivation, and manifesting here, the ways to apply it to your life to become the best version of yourself. I'm doing the exact same thing, pursuing excellence. That's what it's all about for me. So again, I encourage you to share it with someone and come back and watch this video again if you need it on a further date. But I encourage you to keep the momentum going today, right? If you like this video, watch the next one that's popping up on the screen, because it's more than likely about mindset, motivation, and manifesting as well, and ways to use it to level up in your world. So thank you for sharing a few minutes with me today. I am grateful for you as always. And until the next video, sending peace, love, and positive vibes your way.